Hi YouTube, I'm going to go over a quick little video on how to field strip a 1911. I've got two 1911s here, one being a Colt, one being a SIG. As we can see, there's no magazines in either of the weapons. Just shouldn't even have them there, but I get a lot of people in classes that come up to me and they don't understand exactly, they go out and buy these weapon systems and they're not real sure how to field strip them, and there's two ways really to do so. I'm going to show you both ways. One of them being if you have a solid guide rod, you really can't do the first method I'm going to show you. And I don't have a rigid guide rod in either of these weapon systems. But how we're going to do it first is we're going to press down on the spring cup here on the front of the weapon system. You're going to rotate this barrel lug to the non-slide stop side of the gun. So you're just going to press this down like so and rotate this over. Then that'll let you pull the spring and the spring cup up off the weapon system. Then we rotate it to the other side of the weapon and you can take the entire barrel lug off. Get that off there. What this does for you is it's going to let you remove all the spring pressure from, I can't get that off, so let you remove the spring pressure off of the slide itself, allowing you to line up. Now there's 3 notches on the side of any 1911. You got the one the safety's going to go up into, you've got the one that the slide stop actually holds when it's in the lock position, and then this is the takedown slot. So you line that up and you're going to go ahead and press from the other side of the weapon system. You're going to go ahead and press the slide stop forward, making you able to remove it. Then the whole slide and barrel and everything moves forward. This is going to keep that spring pressure from trying to launch your slide while you're trying to take it apart, or you're trying to hold it and get it all right. From there, you move the spring, remove the barrel lug, and you can remove the barrel. Now the barrel on your standard 1911, it actually doesn't come out the bottom of the slide like you can on a Glocker set, so it's going to move forward out the end of the barrel. From there, to put it back together, you just do the exact same, or do the exact opposite. Go ahead and put your barrel in, get it to lock up. You're going to go ahead and put your barrel lug in, twist it over to the non-slide stop side. From there you can go ahead and put pressure spring in. Now this is where it kind of gets important. This little swivel here is what your slide lock lever actually goes through when it's all back together. So it's going to be important that we get that in the up position as we put this back together. So we're going to go ahead and slide to slide onto the weapon system, and you're going to kind of watch your buffer, make sure it all goes back in right, and you're going to slide that until you see the ring, and you're no way you're going to be able to see that, but you'll actually be able to see that little ring in there. So that's when we're going to go ahead and slide, and you need to make sure 100% that you capture that. Now from here, there's a detent inside this tube that goes across the left side of the pistol grip. The easy way, I see people taking their pocket knife and pushing that thing in. You don't have to do that. If you just come up from the bottom and give it a little nudge, it'll get in and push that detent back to where now you can light up that center hole, push it the rest of the way through. Lock your slide forward, go ahead and take your spring cup. Now it's going to be important that you hold pressure down on this, because if you don't, it'll fly away just like so. So you need to get good pressure on it, hold on to it, or be in a place that you're not going to lose it if it does fly off. So, because it does have an extreme amount of spring pressure on it. So when you do this, you need to get it on there solid, push that down into the channel, and go ahead and rotate your lug back over. Function check the weapon system. You should never dry fire a 1911. You can break things. So we're going to go ahead and make sure it pulls back. Lock it to the rear. Your hammer should stay back with the trigger being pressed. Let it out. You should hear a metallic click. Now we know we're good to go on that weapon system. The other way to field strip it is without doing anything to the front of the barrel or the barrel lug. And to do that, one of the reasons I don't like it is I see everybody, they're going to reach through the trigger guard with their thumb. And when they do that, I mean, yeah, we know we're working with an unloaded weapon, but still, it just bothers me. I try to keep my thumb out of the trigger guard when I'm not getting ready to shoot. But the other way to do this is to just go ahead, line up that middle slot, push that slide stop lever out, and then you're going to have to, the problem with that and why I don't like to do it that way, you're forced to if you have a rigid guy rod. If when you, on your weapon system, when you lock this back, if you got another rod sticking up right here, where my finger would be, then you have a rigid recoil rod, and you're not going to be able to do that first method that I showed you. So when you line all that up, it's important that when you pull it, the slide off, let me get started here, you pull out your slide stop lever. Now it's important when you pull that off that you wrap your hand underneath here, underneath the slide, and catch all that stuff in there, because there's going to be spring pressure in there. It's not such a big deal if you've got a rigid recoil rod. It's going to hold everything in. If you don't and you do use this method, I've seen springs go flying. So as you pull this off, you're going to go ahead and capture all of that. And you see that spring jumped into that position when I did that. It's just, it works. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no one way better than the other in this, but to me it makes it more difficult to try and seat this spring in there and go ahead and apply all that spring pressure back to the system to try and put it back together. And then you got to make sure you got your ring still up where you can get it, get the pin through there when it goes back together. So from here you got to hold pressure on that spring to hold it down. Go ahead and slide it back together and kind of let it go as you go. And again, once you see your ring in that hole, feed it through there, get it to go in, start it up in behind that detent. Now you line that slide up and push it back together. Do your function check. We know our weapon system's working. Either way works fine. I prefer method 1 unless there's a rigid recoil rod. Then I use method. I mean, you have no choice but to use method 2. I may do a video later on breaking the entire 1911 down piece by piece. It'll probably end up having to be 2 to 3 videos to keep them in the 10-minute range, because they're very intricate inside. This is a standard across all 1911s. If it is a quote-unquote mil-spec 1911, it will work the same way every time. You can push that barrel lug off. This is a generic Colt, but generic, it's a factory original Colt. This is the 1911A1, but it all works the same. You can still do all the same movements to get it to come apart the same way. If you have any questions, anything that I did too fast that you didn't understand or don't understand why and want to know, feel free to go ahead and leave me a question. If you've got another way you break a 1911 down, I sure love to see it. I love anything kind of cool, and people got all these high-speed ways to do simple things. Some of them are better. Some of them, I don't know that I call them better. Some of them are just different. But I'd like to see it if you got away, so I appreciate you watching, and I'm going to get this gun back together.